Hey everybody, this is just a quick tutorial, I suppose, on how I got Christmas lights on my Jeep Wrangler. It's 1500 lights, LED lights. You have to use the LED lights. You'll never be able to manage that many lights with the regular kind. There's a combination of color strands and white strands on here. So there's 15 strands of color, 50 lights each, and then 15 strands of the white each. See if I can go up here and give you the top as well. So they're on the top, they're on the hood, they're on the sides, they're on the doors, they're on the front, wrapped around the front of it, and I got them wrapped around the spare tire. And I've got them framing various aspects of the Jeep in terms of making sure it looks like a Jeep even from a distance. So obviously there's a lot of zip ties used here. You can get these packs from Walmart, 8-inch. You'll need some others as well, but these are 8-inch, the 250 count. You're gonna need these, definitely. But one of the nice things about this is I've really felt like some of the things I was seeing online that people had done, they hadn't managed to do the doors, or they didn't do the doors, or maybe they were just using this for a parade. I've drive this around town at night. My wife and I would drive this around. Get lots of smiles and honks and people taking pictures, and everybody loves it, so it's pretty cool. But so anyway, I'm gonna see if I can hold this so you can see the doors open. All the doors will open and close. Some of them a little more sensitive just because of where the lights are, so I have to be a little careful. But you can see I basically have created sort of I want to say like mount points that I used. The two key things that I did, besides just using the zip ties, the key things you're going to need to do, and there's my stool in the background. And again, this is for a hardtop model, JKU. I had the soft top as well, but there's no way you're going to be able to do this with a soft top. There's no places to mount certain things in the back that you're going to need to do. Oh, here, let me go in the back there and show you. Well, I can show you in the front. So obviously I have everything plugged in to an extension cord into this, so it hooks up to my 110 volt switch, which is rated for 150 watts. All of these lights total up to 144 watts. Here's another view of the back. Oh, and another nice thing, I can open the tire and open the back with no interference. So that was kind of challenging. So you can see I brought my extension cord back. I had it come back. I'm gonna have to flip around here. And here's where I had to get ingenious here, I think. You see these points, these holes up here in the hard top on both sides where some of the cables come through for the heating elements for the rear window. I threaded a really big zip tie that I had like a 3-foot zip tie through and pulled it through like over here. Or actually I guess I put it in this way and it came out over here, and I pulled it down. I attached some like paracord or anything like that you have. Pulled it back through a certain length and I made a knot. So right here in the middle, you can see I've just created a real tight knot. And then, so that let me bring the power cord somewhat to the middle of the back of the Jeep. Now, you don't have to do that, but the advantages of that is when you run the cables, you'll keep them pretty symmetric. And symmetry is pretty important, at least I thought so when you're doing this, because it lets you keep track of, number one, it lets you use the same number of cords per side, and this was sort of done per side, so these, even though they're all kind of strung together, I could unplug one side of the Jeep and the other side of the Jeep differently. But so anyway, so the lights come out up through the opening back here, and you got to pull them a little snug. And this is the first time you do it. This is kind of difficult to explain because you're going to see everything webbed together. But this main cord comes up through, comes all the way up to right here on the corner, right here. And so you'd have to see this. You'd have to take your soft top, or not the soft top, the Freedom top. You'd have to take the panels, loosen them up, and pop them up a little bit to see what I'm talking about. But basically, right under here, underneath, you'll see what is, in a sense, like a little tab. It's curved, but it's a little tab shape. But since that sits down in a groove, I thought I could run something down through that, loop it around, and tie it. So I basically used some electrical cord that's really strong, obviously, once you twist it. Ran it down around that, popped it back up, cut the thing, and made it, in essence, what is like a loop or a zip tie thing that I could use up here. So by creating this mounting point here, it let me run up there, over the top, up to here, and then I just come down. Most of you guys won't, well, some of you guys are going to have these. These are for the removable mirrors for when you have the doors off. You may or may not have these. And I'll be honest, if you don't have these, some of the stuff would probably be more challenging. But what it let me do was go from there down to here, avoiding the door line. And then I created like a looser zip tie here because I knew I wanted to kind of keep things tighter. I ran it down here and then over to the front somewhere. Okay, so you can imagine you do that once, you hook another cord on, go in another direction, I kind of zigzagged across the hood. And again, always doing things in symmetry. At least I thought so for troubleshooting. So you don't want to go up and then over as much as you can. You want to go up and then down and then have another light set kind of do something. So, as again, I thought, once you create this, once you get this main cord up there and it's nice and tight and snug, you can then create, because of the lights and using zip ties with the lights at, say, like junction points, where the cord can't pull through loose, you can create like a point that you can attach to. And that's what let me create the points up here and then back here for the second set of doors. And that's what lets you come straight down to kind of create the frame of the window. Now, another challenging thing was right here. Let's see if you can get in close. I basically ran a zip tie down. You have to loosen the screws for the rear hardtop and thread. You kind of push from the inside, push a zip tie down through, and then bring it out, push it back up through, and then tie it inside. But you want to create a loop. So when you do that, that basically creates an attach point. That lets you bring these other lights up from down around. Hopefully you have some kind of a rail down here. You bring it up along, somewhat following the lines of the Jeep, attaching there, bringing it straight back. And then again, I've got these light guards on the back. You may or may not have these. I'm not sure what I would do if I hadn't had some of these attachment points, if you will. Everybody's going to be unique in what you do. And then again, I had, this is a Rubicon hard rock, so I had 2 of the recovery hooks in the back. So I had the symmetry there. Not all the Jeeps are going to have that. So at a certain point, I ran the lights down to that and then up and around my license plate. So let me close this. The rear wheel, basically the first thing I did was trying to figure out how I was going to do this. So somewhere over here I've got a big gob of the lights attached, and they're protected from the elements with really strong, nice duct tape. So I had a string of this stuff come over, go behind the wheel to kind of give a whole bunch of light behind the wheel, which kind of helps it from a distance kind of give a little bit of thing. So my rear wheel, I've got a couple things going on. I got probably about 50 lights behind it, strung around, wrapped around it. I've got at least another strand wrapped around the circumference of the wheel. And then here was another thing I did that I thought was kind of interesting. I use zip ties on my wheels at certain points, and so you can see them right here. So I created one at each of these points throughout the wheel, and that kind of creates, again, an attach point. And rather than go around, I chose to kind of do a star-shaped thing where I kind of crisscross, like what you're doing with changing the tire pattern when you're rotating tires. You kind of zip across to different ones. So that's what I did for the spare tire. Let's see, go along the front. And again, you kind of have to be careful around the doors. Right here, see if I can get in here. When you put a zip tie on, if you're careful where you put it, okay, right through, stringing it right through there, this will stay out of the way so that when you open a door, so you can see there's really no danger. It stops right there, I'm fine. And it shuts just fine. So again, the same thing with the rear door. The rear door is the trickiest just because I don't tend to use the rear doors too much. I got to tighten a couple things up here and there because I just redid something. And so this is kind of tricky. I guess if I had to do it again, I might have to just straighten this thing out right here. But trying to keep these lights away from the seam is important because when you open the door, sometimes they'll slide in and kind of get crushed. So somewhere I have one bulb that's kind of broken. It still lights up though. So again, you could ask me for a pattern. I think that would be kind of tricky to do, just because every Jeep is going to be different. But I thought it was pretty cool. I'll post some, I guess, pictures or something that I've taken of it so that you can see. And see, here's a kind of an aerial view of it. So 1,500 lights, color and white on a Jeep Wrangler. Lots of zip ties. Definitely a day's work, probably, of kind of doing it and doing it well. Sometimes repeated trips to Walmart after you realize you kind of need more lights, or you could just kind of do what I did, just kind of buy enough, buy a lot, and whatever you don't use, you can always take back to Walmart. And I can even show you, not that it matters, because I'm not sure necessarily they're the greatest things in the world anyway. Here's the model that I got. These are just holiday time. And I got warm, I don't like the cool white. So I got the warm white LED mini lights, and again, these come in color and warm white. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to send them my way. Otherwise, like I said, you do this, you will get a lot of smiles and attention and honks, and everybody loves it. So yeah, give it a go. And I'm not sure what to say about police. I have yet to be hounded by them, but to say that I'm aware of the idea that they may not like something, or it may be an issue, I'm aware of that. But I'm just trying to be cognizant of that when I'm driving, and I'm prepared at any point when I'm driving to just kind of reach down and press the button to turn all the lights off. So again, if you have any questions, send them my way. Otherwise, have a great Christmas.